Hi everyone, today I'm going to be doing a little video about all of my knitting needles and spindles and doing a little organization of them because my cats knocked over everything and it was organized all pretty, but now I need to redo it, and Possum's gonna come over here and try and chew on things, and that's not okay. It's not okay. Okay. So I'm going to get my camera all set up and then start doing a little organizing and going through each of these things. Don't chew. All right, so I've got my all my knitting needles and spindles here. And so I think what I'm going to do first is separate things from spindles, which you use to spin yarn. And I'll do circular needles over here and knitting needles into two piles. I'll do these short ones, which are double pointed, in this pile, and long knitting needles into this pile. So I'll go ahead and get those done. And then I'm going to do one more pile for yarn thingies. Yarn that I've already got going here. So I have some knitting needles that I hadn't even opened yet. And I'll explain a little bit about this. I like the Susan Bates brand. You can get that at pretty much any big box store. So I got these at either Joann's or Michael's. And they're just, you know, really useful to have on hand. So go ahead and get these out. And, you know, when they're like this in the package, they have a size written on them. This is US 2. And I guess this is a US 1. And, but, you know, when they're out of the pack like these, like, I don't know what size these are. I bet this is a 5 or a 6, but, you know, how do I know? Well, you can use a thing called a needle gauge, and it has, a bunch of different holes on it, and they're each labeled with a size, and you just put your knitting needle into the hole and you're like, okay, this fits. So it's a number 1. So yeah. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get these all organized. All right, so I have everything organized, roughly organized now. And I can take all of these are all my double pointed knitting needles, and they all go in here. Yay! Now they're all in there. Oh my god, there's even static electricity. Who knew that bamboo was staticky? But, and then here's all my cable needles, which go in the front of that. And then this I'm gonna put somewhere else. These go somewhere else. Well, yeah, I'm gonna put these somewhere else. These are all yarn holders. These two don't have anything on them, but this is actually a spindle, but I keep it in here. This is gonna go in the somewhere else with those things, and I think I'm gonna get a separate little jar for these. I'm going to put all of my straight knitting needles, if I can get them all going the right direction. Yep. They're all gonna go in here. Ooh, that's dangerous. Okay, that's a little bit more okay. Yeah, so there, that's nice. This is really nice. And then, most of my spindles. Hi everyone, I decided that I wanted to go back through and share more about my individual spindles, because when I filmed them I didn't get the actual spindles on camera, so it was just me talking and like a still picture basically of my knitting needle. So I'm gonna go through all of my different spindles and talk about them and where I got them and how they spin. Alright, so I think first I'll go over some of the spindles that I made. For some of them I used wooden dowels that you can get at the craft store, like Michael's or Joann's, you know, any big box store, Hobby Lobby probably. And then Sculpey clay or Primo clay, and that you can also get Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Joann's, and they're a little dusty. And you know, flatten the clay how you want it, and then you bake it in the oven and it hardens. Which was a little tricky for me to be able to get it through the, like, get it onto the dowel and or the stick. Like, I measured it out before, but it bakes, like, it gets a little bit bigger when it bakes, enough so that it's like a tight fit, and sometimes it breaks part of it. So I just like super glued that back on. I didn't really need that. If you're being really precise with your spindles, that does matter, because it's going to affect the weight distribution of your whorl, which is what these are. They're called whorls. It's going to affect the weight distribution, and it's not going to like spin evenly. Now, I didn't use like a cookie cutter or a leveler or anything, so my whorls are pretty rustic, and I was just playing around. If I'm really gonna focus with it, there's other things you can do. You can use craft wheels. Yeah, I don't really know like what tools you can use, what like clay tools you can use to make sure you get a perfect wheel shape. And I don't know exactly how you will solve that problem of the clay getting like a tiny bit bigger, because you want it to be a snug fit onto here. And then I also super glued these on so that they don't move, because that's just not good for a spindle. So yeah, so these are the spindles that I made, and then I tried to do one a little bit more rustic even. So I used a stick from my river birch tree that's out at my house. You can see the stick was growing this way, the branch was growing this way, and I put it on like this so that the whorl could go over it, because it was not gonna go over like this bump here. So that's what I did there. So those are fun. And then this was my very first drop spindle. It's an Ashford bottom whorl drop spindle, but I thought it was a top whorl, and I was like, oh my god, what do? I don't know how to spin this. It doesn't have a hook. And my friend Gabe was like, well, just put a hook in it, which I ended up doing. And then I learned it's a bottom whorl. And yeah, I wouldn't have done that if I had known like what quality Ashford is and stuff. But Ashford is like really good quality. It's made from New Zealand birch. I think white birch or white beech. I don't know. I'll look it up and I'll put it in the description. It's silver birch, I think. I don't know. I'm gonna look it up. But so this one is for big, heavy, fat, thick yarn, heavyweight. and I like to spin lace, so it's not my favorite, but I really appreciate it. And then this is the second drop spindle I ever acquired. And this is a Viscount Woodturning top whorl drop spindle with a hook that I got from Etsy at his shop, Viscount Woodturning. And this one is probably the one I use the most because it's just perfect for spinning the weight of yarn that I like, the thickness of yarn that I like to spin. Yeah, it's just really well suited to heavy lace, light fingering, light fingering. So I've got some yarn on here. This is fiber from Done Spun, and her fiber is really fantastic, and this was one of my Advent spins, and it's for my ice fit, you know, like an outfit, but an ice fit. So I'll explain more about that project later on the channel. Here is a spindle that was gifted to me by my Aunt Catherine, and it's a Louet brand, or Louet make, and I just think it's super cute. It's great for spinning like a lot of yarn, a little bit heavier weight, which is good that I like for like my spiral yarns and flame yarns. Really, really fun. Love this spindle. Very good for production. Because some of them, I like to think that like you have spindles that you're going to make like a lot of yarn on. They're your production spindles. And then you have spindles that you're doing an art spin, or you're doing a history bounding spin. You're doing a culture bounding spin. So, yeah, there are different purposes, I think, for spindles. So I'll talk a little bit about the history bounding spins in a bit that I'm doing, but I'll keep going on my theme of like production spindles and spindles that I really, really love. I've got two here that I absolutely love that are by the spindle maker Cynthia Wood Spinner, Cynthia D. Haney. I got my first one at the Southeastern Animal Fiber Festival, and it is branch sized. I think it's sycamore and maple and tulip poplar. Yes, maple and tulip poplar. And yeah, it spins like so evenly. These are the nicest spindles that I have. And I mean, you can, like the quality of the tool itself and the quality of the spin that you get off of it, the yarn that you make. This one is for, you know, a lot of yarn, production spinning. This one is sycamore and I don't know. I don't know I don't remember which ones these are, but I have the labels. And this one here, my small one, the branch sized, I got with a certificate from a contest that I won in lace yarn making. That was the first year that I was making yarn, and I won a blue ribbon for that. And this is my trunk sized drop spindle, and I got this one for my birthday last year, and I have done some nice spins with this. Very fun, very fun. But yeah, this one has a tiny, this one's very good for lace, and this is a project that I also have some shorts and tiny videos of on my YouTube. So it'll explain what that is if you're interested. If you're not, don't worry about it. Okay, so some of my history bounding. I'll go into this one first. This is a Dancing Goats make Tayet spindle, which is based off of an ancient Egyptian style of spindle that he saw in National Geographic, and then he recreated the spindle. And I've been waiting for Evie of Jillian Eve Spinning to do a video on this, but maybe I'll beat her to it. I don't know. Evie, if you see this, let's see who gets a video on Tayet spinning first. So yeah, it's really cool. He uses just like the coolest materials. It's very, very fun. And this one is the kind that's like stable. He has the other kind that were his first design with a removable bone, and it's basically like a bobbin, and I guess you can put that on his like Anatolian plying blocks and woo, ply. So yeah, and this one is spun support. All of the ones that I have shown previously are drop spindles, and so you're gonna spin those suspended in there. It's just gonna hang as you spin. But this one you're gonna set on something. It's very sharp, so I'm like not, yeah. But you put it on something and you spin it so it's supported on a surface. Yeah, so gonna practice with that one soon because I haven't had very much luck. I'm new to support spinning, and I think I'm gonna have to do the park and draft method, but my stride is in doing long draw suspended spins while it's spinning. So yeah, that's what I like to do. More along the history bounding, I have an Ecuadorian pushka, and this is also a support spindle. The next one is too. So it's a support spindle, and this one I am working on a project where I'm going to spin fiber. I think I'm going to do alpaca, but I'm not sure. I'm going to look and see like what I have that's available that kind of goes with this project. But the story is my dad bought a hat at Machu Picchu when he went in 2004. And he didn't buy the hat band, which is like you buy the hat band, it goes with the hat. He didn't buy the hat band. So he gave the hat to me because he is a minimalist and didn't want a lot of possessions. And so he gave the hat to me, and I am going to spin some yarn, dye it with stuff from my dye garden, and weave it on a backstrap loom, which is the most ancient type of loom, and it's the one that they still use in the Andes today, that I am going to locally forage the wood for and create by myself. So it'll be like a totally hand-done hat band to go with my really cool Machu Picchu hat. So pushka, and this one I'm going to store upside down so that it just fits in with everything. But it is like this, it's used like this, and the whorl is removable. It's a bottom whorl, and the shaft is like a little bit bigger here, so it fits right on. All right, and then so I have my Ecuadorian pushka and my Peruvian Chac-chac. This is another support spindle, and this is by Straddle Creek Spins. The other one is an imported, these fiber people, I think it was like Rose Hill Farm or something. That's not what that is, because that was my step-grandparents' farm. But Rose something farm, and they go to Ecuador and bring those back from makers. So I don't know who actually made that. Be cool to meet some folks that are making spindle tools out there where hand spinning is still a big part of the economy. Because here, hand spinning is not a big part of the monetary economy. You're not going to buy a lot of hand spun yarn for industrial everyday purposes. You're going to be gifted hand spun yarn by your loved one who makes it for you, with you in mind. That's pretty much what you're gonna get hand spinning for in this country, in the United States, or I don't know, but it's a tourist thing in the Ecuador and the Andes to get hand spun, hand woven goods. So it's part of the economy. But this is a Peruvian Chac-chac. I don't know that it's like an actual like everyday design that they use, and apparently this little ring here is just like Straddle Creek Spins their design. I don't think that's like an everyday thing that you would get on a Chac-chac. But this one is hand-dyed wood, and yeah, I got this one for my birthday last year too, and I love it, and I'm just learning how to use it. You can see some of that pink on there, which, I don't know, this is wool, so yeah. But again, I'm a beginner to support, and I was trying to spin with it drop, and that's, I don't know, it doesn't give the best effect, so gotta work with that still. And then we have come to my last spindle, -1, which I can't find. This is a Turkish spindle, and alongside all of the support spindles, this one you can spin drop. So it'll spin like this, and you do a half hitch, which I'm just really learning how to do, and then you wind it on into what's called a turtle, and it's a center ply ball, and it's like really easy to ply from, but I'm also like really scared to use a center ply ball because when those get tangled, it's like terrifying. But this is how you spin on a Turkish spindle. And then what you do is you have to get the half hitch off, which means I have to struggle and maybe fail and not fail. And then I'll show you how you wind it on. You do over 2, under 1, over 2, under 1, over 2, under 1, over 2, under 1. And you just keep going like that. And there are different styles. People make these like really, really fancy turtles, and they're like art in and of themselves. People get really, really fancy with their Turkish spindle spins. And I don't know, some people who use Turkish spindles are like, they're really, really loyal to their Turkish spindles. They're like, I only spin on a Turkish spindle. And then, when you're done with this, you can pop your things off and you pull the middle one out, and then you can pull the other one out, and you just have your little yarn ball turtle. Oh my god, I'm gonna make a mess. Come on. Okay. I'm struggling here, but that's just my experience for the Turkish spindle. Learning, And I always just kind of wrap the fiber around when I'm not using it. And this one I'm just gonna put in there. then those are all my spindles, minus my aka, which we know I can't find right now. So when I find that one, I'll highlight it in a video, but these are all my spindles. Yay! These are goddess spindles, and in the spindle world, it's really, really hard to get them. I was lucky enough to be able to get a couple. And this one is a soot sprite one. She hand carves these and hand paints them and wood burns them. And they're just exquisite. And you can see that some of them are curvier goddesses than others. Some of them are very slender. Lily of the Valley, Bleeding Hearts. They're so amazing. And then this was Team Unicorn for 2022 on Tour de Fleece. And yeah, they're just exquisite. So those are some favorites, and they have a special place. They are the goddess style spindle based on the traditional Pong style spindle. Yeah. So, and then I have one other spindle that will go in here, but I can't find it at this time, and that's my aka spindle. And that one is, it gives me like the longest spin, and it's a small one. So that one is really nice, and I use it a lot, and I think it's in use is why I can't find it right now. And yeah, I have no idea where it is, but this is all of my spindles and knitting needles. That's all of my spindles. And then I have a lot of knitting needles that are in use right now, but these are all of the ones that are not in use. And I need to find, I have an idea for what to do with all of these circulars to make them not a huge mess and to keep them safe from Possum, who likes to chew on them, which ruins them and is extremely frustrating. And yeah, but a bunch of these I got, they were given to me. They were like free at the Fiber Guild meetings, and so I'm so happy to have these and be able to just use whatever size I need for any of the projects, have multiple projects going on at the same time, because I really enjoy starting new projects. And finishing projects is a whole different game than starting projects. This is some yarn that I have that hasn't been plied. All of these are singles. This is some Manx Lockton. This is nothing. This is some that I was using for my friend's mitten tops. This is some that I was doing art yarn with. This is what I was plying with this for the mitten tops, rainbows. This I spun on this little beauty, and it was just a joy to spin, and I may have to do a second ply of this, but I have a project on that spindle right now that is taking me a while. And then this, I can't remember what I was plying it with, but I spun this on my aka, and you can see that I'll like use knitting needles to put plies on, so I can stick them in a jar and they'll just unspin as I ply them. So yeah, it works really well. Here I have all of my double pointeds and then their various accoutrements and a feather. And then here I have all of my straight needles, which I don't use as much, so I can put those in the back where they're safe. Okay. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this little tour and organization of my knitting needles and spindles. And yeah, happy Valentine's Day.